Hey guys, so today we're talking about SBIRT skills. The first question is, how do you feel using SBIRT skills? Are you comfortable? I am pretty comfortable using SBIRT skills. In the work that I do now, I typically use them a few times a week, if not daily. I complete what we call the ANSA as part of the intake process. That stands for Adults Needs Strengths Assessment. So we do that when we do intake for every new client, and then we also do it every 6 months for people currently in services. We used to do it every 3 months, but now it's every 6 months. And screenings that utilize those SBIRT skills are typically part of that process. I work in mental health, and there's a lot of crossover between substance use and abuse and mental health issues. So it's pretty common in my field. Can you see yourself using it when you get to the field? Yes, I can, because I'm currently utilizing those skills. What about finding resources for the client? That's kind of something that I'm dealing with right now, because I just moved to Houston, so new area. I'm building up kind of that knowledge base of what resources are available for clients and kind of what those financial stipulations are and different things that impact eligibility. Prior to living in Houston, I was in San Antonio doing very similar work, and that was a really powerful thing that I had that knowledge base. I grew up in San Antonio. I've worked in San Antonio, my whole adult life in this type of work, so I was really familiar with all the different things that San Antonio has to offer in terms of services. So that's kind of been a new thing that I'm having to adjust to, is not really being sure what's out there for clients. As far as strengths, when it comes to you using SBIRT skills, I think my strengths are I'm pretty good at making clients feel comfortable. It's really important to establish rapport as quickly as you can with clients, especially when you're screening for substance use issues, because these screenings aren't really useful unless the client is honest, and that can be difficult when the client doesn't trust you. So one way that I have learned to help with that process is I use my tone, I use body language, kind of just the way that you interact with the client, that put them at ease as much as you can. I use the word we as often as I can. So like, for example, if I'm screening for alcohol use and I know that the patient has a history of trauma, I might say something along the lines of, well, when we are dealing with traumatic memories, we sometimes want to make ourselves feel better, so we might turn to alcohol to kind of cope. That's pretty common. And so like when you're using that word we, in my experience, it kind of lets the client know, hey, I'm human too. I have the same, issues that you do, maybe not exactly the same, but I've definitely, been in situations where I can understand what you're feeling and what you're going through. And it kind of takes away that whole authoritative role that kind of feels like it's in place when you're the clinician and they're the client. Another strength, I guess, is just knowledge base, which I don't really have anymore, but I used to. Areas to improve, like I said, building up that knowledge base again in my new community. One thing that is difficult with the clients that I work with, because the work that I tend to do is usually with people that are unfunded, so no insurance or anything like that, is finding resources that they're eligible for without, insurance. Never underestimate 211. 211 is a very powerful resource for social workers. You can at least get pointed in a direction, generally speaking, for whatever the issue is the client's facing. How can you improve these skills? I would say just practice. At least in my experience, you kind of just get thrown in a lot of times and you figure it out, like on a case-by-case basis. You build up what you're familiar with, what resources you're familiar with, kind of what your next steps are. With each new client, you build upon what you already know. I'm confident that I'll be able to do it with more time in the field and more time in my community and so forth. I recently learned the process for OSAR screening for Houston. It was very different in San Antonio, so that's helpful. I think that I have covered all the questions. Look forward to seeing everybody else's responses and talk to you guys soon.